Okay, so at this point, we've got Active Directory domain services. That role has been enabled. This was there by default. Local server was there by default when we were handed this configuration of this server. It was already preloaded for us. So we've updated it. We have dropped the 2 firewalls. And as a reminder, let's go jump back in there. I'll right click, settings, go to update security, Windows security, firewall network protection, I've got the wrong one off. So we'll click this one, turn it off, say yes, go back. I wanted the private one on. That'll allow us to do what we need to do. So we have this role, and up here we've got this little warning or notification. And if we click on it, it says promote this server to a domain controller. Well, at this point, we're not a domain controller because we don't even have a domain to control. So when we do this, let's see what happens. And I click that link. And it should be going. And there it goes. Try it again if it's not actually going. And I'll go ahead and pause the video so you don't have to watch mine go as well as yours. Now, if I click this task details, it should tell me the status. And it says right here, post-deployment configuration is running. Promote this to be a domain controller. So it is actually doing what I want it to do. It's just going to take a little while. I'll go ahead and pause till it pops up my next window. Okay, so it's popped up a window for us. And it says deployment configuration. We want to add a domain controller to an existing domain. Well, we don't have a domain yet. Add a new domain to an existing forest. Add a new forest. So let's go ahead and we're going to create our new forest. And we're going to call this MCSA.2023.local. That'll be our root name. Go ahead and say next. Now we're going to have to put in here a directory services restore module password. So I'm going to put in here uppercase P, lowercase a s s w o r d, the number 0, and the number 1. Do it again. Uppercase P, lowercase a s s w o r d 0 1. Click Next. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip this because we don't have DNS enabled on this. Now it's going to automatically give us MCSA on here for the domain name. We go ahead, we say Next. It gives us 3 folders it's going to create for us. We say Next. Go ahead, say Next. And now it's going through and it's going to make sure that everything that we need, or I should say everything it needs, is there to do what it's got to do. There's a couple of little things that it ran into. It says, in a nutshell, our prerequisite passed, but there's some little things that appear to be related to. And we'll go through them. Domain controller. And they're talking about NT 4.0. It's an update. I can go back and check that later, but that's not a big deal. This one, they're saying that we don't have a static IP address. I know, I can't have one. If I tried to change it, and I have, it will crash my entire configuration of the entire network. So this machine. So it'll crash the machine. I won't be able to RDP back into this machine again. So it's not even worth wasting the time to try it. DNS server cannot be created. Exactly. That's a known issue. So aside from that, we're all good. We'll go ahead and say install. Kind of hung on that one, but we're fine. So it's completed, and it says I'm about to be signed out because it's got to go through and do a restart for this to actually take place. There it goes. My RDP's down. I say OK. Go ahead and connect back in. Back. That'll let us back in there again. Go. May not let us in the first go, but eventually it does. I'll go ahead and pause. One of many pauses to save you from watching this. It fought me on the login. I had to go through, I think, 4 or 5 times, entering the same admin 123 that we've done time and time again to get into these nodes, into these VMs. So it's spinning up my VM. It's telling me that DNS is running on this, even though I didn't set up DNS on this. So I can come over here from time to time. This will happen. Click start, 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 and start. That'll spin all those up. For whatever reason, sometimes they'll hang up, and that's not just on this CyberHub environment, that's on just about any environment. And it's just, for whatever reason, they got hung up, didn't spin up like we wanted to. So we can just go into those services and start them manually. Let's go look at our server. So I click on the local server, which is this server, and we see that WinServer01 is a member of MCSA 2023.local. We are a domain controller. Part of me wants to go in here and try to change this name, but I'm scared. I don't want to crash this environment and have to go redo it all over again. So let's go explore and see what's going on here with DNS. It says we've got a DNS server. It has an IP address of 133, so it's pointing back to this one. And that's fine. I could manually go put in a loopback on there, but it's about the same. Okay, so we've done what we needed to do to make this a member of a domain. Now it's a domain controller. The other machine, and this is for well, I'll talk about that in another video, and I'll go ahead and split it up into two separate videos. So for this, we've installed, I created a domain, and this is a domain controller for the MCSA domain. All right. So that said, that got us through this task.